9 Highly Effective Ways to Deal with Condescending People. Part 1. Condescending worker talking down to her colleagues. Nobody enjoys being condescended to. Having someone try to make us feel small or inferior is an awful thing to experience, especially because it's almost always unwarranted. Being on the receiving end of belittling comments, sarcasm, or the implication that you're incompetent can make anyone feel angry and want to retaliate. That said, once you understand where this condescension comes from, you'll be able to see through that behavior so it doesn't affect you anymore. Why are people condescending? When dealing with a condescending person, the best approach is to consider why they're being that way. Understanding the cause is key to dealing with the symptom, or behavior, in this instance. Insecurity. In most cases, condescending people are deeply insecure. Often, this is due to an abusive upbringing in which they were mistreated and made to feel insignificant or not good enough. As a result, they have abysmal self-esteem and desperately try to feel valid and important by any means necessary. This may include putting down anyone whom they consider to be a potential threat. Some of them might develop narcissistic tendencies to overcompensate for their inner self-loathing, and they'll put down and insult those who embody traits they despise in themselves. It's a self-defense mechanism geared toward detracting from their shortcomings by shifting attention and negativity onto someone else, while making themselves feel better. Some might become hardcore overachievers in order to gain recognition from their peers. They feel that by winning that medal, earning those degrees, or attaining that professional level, they will have finally earned the respect that was denied to them by their friends and family members. Then they'll turn around and put down others who haven't attained the same things they have. As you can imagine, this creates a vicious cycle of abuse. Those they put down often end up having low self-esteem, and they may be awful to others in turn to make themselves feel better. This kind of situation is particularly heinous in families, as children end up feeling disrespected and unseen by their parents. Then they feel the need to dominate and insult their own offspring in turn. A misplaced sense of superiority. Some people believe themselves to be better than everyone around them for various reasons. For some, it might have to do with heredity and lineage. Others may feel that their education or belongings are better because they're more expensive. They may believe their life experience gives them insights and abilities that their peers don't share. They rarely consider the possibility that just because their peers don't brag about their experiences, doesn't mean they don't have reason to. That also goes for one's bloodline, education, age, and so on. For example, my partner often had co-workers condescend to her because they thought she was significantly younger than her actual age. Then they became embarrassed when they discovered she was older than they were. Sometimes it's unintentional. No two people will experience the same situation in the same way. This is because we all have different formative conditioning. So what's pleasant or comfortable to one person might be construed as insulting or damaging to another. In some cases, what you assume to be condescension might simply be someone being passionate about a topic and not realizing that others might know just as much as they do. For example, someone who's obsessed with mushrooms mycology, might go on tangents about super cool species they've been studying, without bothering to ask anyone whether they're already familiar with them or not. In situations like this, they aren't trying to be insufferable know-it-alls. Rather, they are so swept up in the awesomeness they're trying to share that they don't realize that they've gone into lecture mode. In a case like this, once they've finished blathering on, let them know that, while you're interested in discussing this with them, you'd prefer if they were more respectful. Request that they ask you if you are familiar with the topic before talking about it in detail. Another unintentional cause of condescension is if someone is dealing with difficulty in their personal life. If they are under a great deal of stress at home but can't express their pain or frustration to those around them, they might unintentionally take out those frustrations on others. For example, a parent who's dealing with a difficult teen might inadvertently unleash their hostility on a coworker who exhibits similar behavior to their child. Alternatively, someone may be upset with their partner's lack of consideration but has to remain quiet to keep the peace or to avoid abuse. As a form of pressure release, they'll use their children, siblings, parents, or peers as emotional punching bags. As with other examples of condescending remarks and behavior, it likely stems from their own issues. It has nothing to do with you. 9 tips for dealing with condescending people. There are several different ways that you can deal with condescending people, depending on the circumstance as well as the people involved. 1. Remember that how you respond to others is your choice. A lot of people respond to unpleasant experiences by being offended, but keep in mind that taking offense is a choice. You can choose to be upset and offended by that condescending prat, or you can recognize that their words and opinions don't carry any weight in your life. 2. Respond with humor. Earlier, we touched upon the fact that most condescending people either have an overblown sense of their own superiority or are so deeply insecure that they overcompensate with condescension and arrogance. Being amused by their behavior rather than being upset with them is like bursting their holier-than-thou-ism bubble with a spear. Nobody likes it if they are not taken seriously, and being laughed at while someone is trying to lord their superiority over you is even more distressing. 3. Call them out on their behavior. One trait that many patronizing people have in common is that they'll respond to you with a belittling pet name or moniker.